Hello and welcome back to the Remembering Tuscola webcast. I'm David Porter. I'm here with Mike Carroll and Bill Englehart, who are going to dazzle you and enlighten you and entertain and astound you. So that's your goals today.
Oh, I'm astounded already.
Yeah,
I'm astounded.
you're supposed to astound the others.
Oh, I see. That's the way it works. Oh,
Currently
okay.
I'm whelmed. So let's see if we can get it to overwhelmed.
Well, we're both old and tired. We're underwhelmed. We just want to get up to whelmed. That'd be good for us to get to whelmed.
What year are we looking at today, David?
41, 36.
We have a wide variety today.
Oh boy, you're going to test us.
We are all over the board today.
My favorite kind.
Are we still batting around 98%?
Yes, about 98% of the time you don't know who's in the picture. So
But we still guess with confidence, don't we?
yeah, you guess 2% of the time you get it right. Usually if the name is printed there on the picture, you usually get those right.
Well, that's we're both wearing glasses. That's not as easy as it used to be. Well, anyway, we're ready to astound someone.
You ready for pictures already?
Well, yeah. Is there any news you want to tell the world? I mean, is there anything big going on?
I'm sitting outside my garage, so I hope it's not
your phone out. I'll show the photo. Get your phone out. Show
that. Okay.
Well, he's got it now.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
We got lots of.
Now, I was
68 Chevy.
I was born in the building on the left.
I was too.
Were we born the same day?
We were born on the same day, 35 years apart.
Close enough.
July 3rd, 1947, right in there. Dr. Kletcher.
I delivered you?
And there was a picture of him last week.
Yes, there was.
I believe Dr. Kletcher delivered me. Dr. Deaver wasn't here then.
I remember walking in that front door.
Oh, yeah. You walk up the steps. There's the big waiting room. The best part of that hospital was on the south side was the screened in, they call it the recovery room. Just a screened in porch with some nice places to sit. Yeah. I also had when I was 4 or 5, I think I remember a surgery there where they said they were going to take my tonsils out, and they kept me overnight. And I remember going to the bathroom about 2 a.m. and noticing my thingy was wrapped in heavy bandage.
What was wrapped?
My thingy.
Your thingy.
Thingy.
What'd they do? Go to the wrong end?
Well, I didn't know the tonsils were down there. Evidently, my mom snuck one in on me. Good old Betty. So I got a double whammy.
You have 2 of them?
Well,
I couldn't help it. I had to smile.
Well, if I had one in my throat, what good would that be? No, I good with that.
Sorry, David.
That's probably about 1966 or 7.
68 Chevy.
I'm speechless.
I think it is. Maybe it's 65.
No, it's 60. Well, I think 67 was it that opened? I'm not sure. That Impala is probably
That's what it is.
Chevy Impala, probably 67 probably.
67, 68, something like that.
Maybe.
Yeah.
Back when they had hubcaps that would pop off versus real wheels.
So I was born in this building as well in 1964. My brother Greg and I were both born here in the same calendar year. He was born in January and I was born in December. So all of us were born at Jarman, but my youngest brother was born over here in the new part.
Oh.
And Dr. Jones from Arthur, I think, delivered all of us.
Grant Jones, great guy. Great doctor. He was my doctor for years. That was quite a deal in Tuscola when they built that new hospital. The whole county pulled together in a fundraising effort. All the towns really contributed.
Okay. It's going like
old old German, 19.
It's Lee Allison's TV radio, Bill. Remember that?
Yeah, there's Allison's and Dairy Queen, owned originally by Mr. Coverstone.
Yeah.
Had the franchise next door to it. And then, of course, on down, you had Ferguson Motors.
The Allisons lived upstairs. Mr. and Mrs. Allison.
You had a lot more of that at one time of people living. You can have some of that today. People living there.
They raised 4 kids up there. Jimmy was in my class. Steve married Jan Charneski, who's brother-in-law for a while. Melody was class 67, and Mary was came later. I don't know what class she was.
Lee and Joyce were just super nice people.
Lee Allison, never saw him mad, never saw him scowl. Great guy.
Mrs. Allison lived to be 100.
I told Lee one time, I said, that must be really nice and handy to live right above your business. He said, it's horrible. People's TVs break down. They'll come beat on my door at midnight or Sunday or whenever, thinking that I could just run down and fix their TV.
But you know, Fox ended up living above their business.
They did, but they didn't put a doorbell on the door.
Oh.
Yeah. We don't have a doorbell on our door. And we usually spend most of our time in the back room, so
I just lay on the horn.
We can't hear knock. But you know it's well enough to walk around to the back to the patio door.
Yeah, I think those cars are. That looks like is that a Pontiac on the far side?
Looks like a Pontiac. What's this? A Mercury?
Well, it looks like a Mercury. Or
boy, it's big.
These are like 68. You think?
Man, that thing could be a hearse.
Well, they used to be what they call them, boats, big boats.
Yeah.
They rode like a carpet. I'd say it's a Mercury station wagon, but it could be. It's got a Mercury.
I knew somebody who had
looks almost like a hearse.
Had a car looked like that. He called it the shaggin' wagon.
Shaggin' wagon. Well, wonder why. That theirs looks like a Pontiac up there. That front sticking out looks like.
Yeah, it does.
That's good.
There you go.
We're never going to get through all the pictures if we.
Well, we need to tell historical stories, get people excited about history.
Yeah.
It's Bill Huber in the announcing wagon, and Norm Willoughby and Rudy wearing company jackets. It looks like
they are disco type shiny. And Norm's got his doing a little politicking over here in the window.
Yes, he does.
I bet you those are free seed jackets from somebody. Norm ran for that was the big township kerfuffle that divided the town when Norm came out and ran for the county board, and then he ran against Sonny Kleiss, came out to run against him, who was the township road commissioner, and then Norm got together a bunch of people to run against the whole slate of township people. Bob Hastings, Orville Fry, a bunch of them. Very controversial period. Who's this over here? We should know this guy here with the cowboy hat.
I just can't tell.
Don't know.
There. Cheerleaders.
That looks like Judy Black in the upper left-hand corner. Judy, she was a campus.
She was
Kleiss, Judy Kleiss.
Sarah Matheny's in the back.
Sarah Matheny back right. That's Gene Waters. Gene Waters upper left.
And that's Debbie Verdeer.
Debbie Verdeer. Big Bill Verdeer's daughter.
Yeah, Big Bill. Wow, Bill.
Married Jimmy Gould's wife?
Well, you know what? I think Debbie married Jim.
My class.
Her sister was Lena.
Okay, I don't know if he married Lena or Debbie. Big Bill Verdeer worked for the street department. One of our big, strong guys. Yeah.
Lena Verdeer married Jason, J.D. Foles.
J.D.?
Did she? I can't remember.
I don't know. But anyway, then that great picture of Gene Waters, former, became Miss Illinois. I don't know what year would this be. She graduated what?
That's grade school.
Look at junior high.
Oh, I'm trying to think when these girls all graduated about what?
Jane graduated in 71.
71. So this is 1959, 58.
No, this is 1968, 9, something like that.
Well, 65.
No, 67, 65, 66.
So
Now,
who we have for names?
upper left is Judy Twice, who became Judy Black and then became, what's his name down the street? That's Matheny. Sarah Matheny. Lower left is Gene Waters. Right is Debbie Vidier.
Yep, that's what Gene Waters has. So, good picture.
That's a great picture.
Very good picture.
Oh boy, this is 1960.
Forrest Ziegler.
Forrest Ziegler in the middle. Remember old Forrest?
Doug Green.
Doug Green on the left.
Paul Donnelly.
And Paul Donnelly on the right. This is I'd say 60. I don't think it's 61. It could be 61.
These are Bucko's boys.
Yeah.
I wonder why they use the double T on the front.
Well, I don't know.
Those have been carved into their chest.
Bucko, that's where Bucko's knuckles hit him, and those are bruise spots.
Did they get these used from Teutopolis, maybe?
It could be that that was their second year of varsity ball. This could be like, I think this is probably Paul Donnelly's junior year. That's probably Doug Green's senior year. Probably 61, Paul was a junior. Forrest Ziegler was a senior. And that's probably like a waiter at a Cracker Barrel every year. They're star. So the two T's, two varsity tees.
I thought someone might know these people, but don't have any information on this one. Sounds like you don't either.
Well, I do, but I don't.
Radar Roy Bonner. Wonderful, wonderful. Everybody liked Radar.
He looks like one of those cops out of that Las Vegas show they had a few years ago.
Yeah.
He was a funny guy. Radar Roy was a funny guy. He stumbled onto more crime solutions than anybody just by pure luck, and they call him Radar Roy because he could just sense it coming. Plus, I think he loved to run radar. But he was a Tuscola police officer. I think he became a deputy for a while. Then he became chief of police over at Bella Grove for a while. And then
I think when you are a police officer, a lot of times you get the nickname Radar.
He died, by the way. I think he had Agent Orange, had lung cancer. Great guy.
Bonner did?
Yeah, Radar.
Wayne Meyer.
Buck Meyer, most valuable football player in 1949.
Great guy.
Great, nice as they come. Nice as they come. Here we go.
Oh boy, here we are.
You get the top or bottom row. Which one do you?
Oh, I can take the top.
Okay.
I can't think of his name. It's Stroll.
Yep.
And then that's Gary Oakes in the middle, and Kevin Ryan on the far right back.
Lower left is our friend and relative, Daryl Ferris.
Daryl Ferris.
On the right's Tim Hull.
Don Snyder.
Donnie Snyder in the middle.
And did you get Stroll's first name on top, Larry?
Is it Larry Stroll? I couldn't remember.
What is his first name?
APs.
Let's think of all the boys' names. Derek, Lamar.
Stroll. Paul, boy.
Larry Stroll. I don't think it was Larry
Stroll. Dad worked plant. Of course, everybody did.
You got a first name?
On what?
Stroll's first name.
I told you, Larry.
Oh, okay. That's what we guessed.
Well, let me double. Yeah, Larry Stroll.
We guessed.
Okay, well, you're batting
1,000.
Close.
Increase to 4%.
It's going to drop a little bit here.
It's going to fade out. Oh, nuts. This must be the 70s. Look at the boy's hair.
I'm just guessing back row.
Oh, I see.
Fourth one is Little. I'm guessing the fourth one is that Mark Mexi or not? Probably not.
This is Chris Little.
Right behind him?
Yeah, right behind that.
Is that Mexi in front of him?
I don't know. I can't tell. Gee, my knee.
Well,
Roy
somewhere.
It's in the ag shop.
You have a brother in there? I think you got a brother in there, don't you, somewhere?
No. Okay, according to Kathy Clapper, front row left to right, Steve Quinn, question mark, uh, Jack Dallas, Jack Norman. Second row left to right, Leonard Jackson, Tim Schultz, Kurt Taylor, Brian Boris, Brad Bakowitz, and question mark, Doug Williams. Third row, left to right, Robbie Wilson, Tom Hawkins, Mark Maxey, Rick Miller, Kirk Little, Phil Ron, question mark, Roy Stevens, ag teacher. Back row, left to right, Tim Sipe, Kurt Clapper, Chris Little, question mark, Ron Rentz, Arnold Dean, question mark. And then Kenny Hoke says Gary Boris is beside Arnold Dean. And Jane Dallas says that's Rick Beauchamp between Chris and Ron. And Jim Gallagher says that's Tom Postlethwaite next to Roy Stevens, and Gary Boris behind him.
Well, we got Mark Maxey and Chris Little.
And he
So
thinks
we got
it's Steve Quinn between. He thinks it's Jeff Ogden between Steve Quinn and Jack Dallas.
I don't think that is Jeff Ogden, but what do I know? Anyway, we guessed two and we got them right, so that's still 100%.
That's a lawyer math right there.
Well,
should have got Tim Sipe now that I look at that picture.
Well, Arnold Dean, I never would have guessed that's Arnold there.
No, Arnold's usually the tallest one. Next.
You know, it's funny. Some years
that's Phil Michener. I see Phil Michener. So this is Caleb's class, but Matt Daniels. This is Ron standing beside Phil Michener. That is Daimler.
There's Daimler on the left.
That's Daimler on the left. Tony Snyder is in the Chicago. Tony Stinger is in the Chicago Bears shirt. He's a lawyer out east, married Amber Wilkinson. Boy, those two young people were really bright. Philip Michener is now Dr. Philip.
Any lawyer has to be really bright.
That's true, too. I see Jennifer Hedinger way in the background.
Yeah. That looks like Davidson. Zach Davidson.
It's not, though. But that is Matt Daniels in that sweater.
Nice sweater. Slide it over, David, to your...
I can't tell who's holding up the trophy.
Okay, you guys are doing pretty well, or Bill's doing pretty well.
Well, I was sitting there feeding him the information.
Jason Kimmer, is that how you pronounce it? It says left to right, Tony Stinger, Dean Mann, Phil Michener.
Oh, that's Dean Mann? Wow.
Yeah. Phil Michener, John Sequin.
Oh, that's John Sequin. That's not a Ron. John Sequin's a lawyer out in Washington.
Another bright guy.
Another bright guy.
Bill Benner, Mark Jacobs, Matthew Daniel, and Paul Werner. And then Kirsty Ring says on the far right is Michelle Wheeler and Josie Kramer.
Josie Kramer is a good basketball player. Bill Benner was he like the mayor of Newman here? That's Willie's boy.
Oh, apologize if I mispronounced names.
He was president. Where?
Newman.
Oh,
he's on the city council over there now, I believe.
Yeah, I think
right boy.
I think he's president of Newman. Okay,
that's a long time ago.
Oh boy, we got all of these.
On the back row, number 11's Bill Cook. Number 32, the one and only
Flash Anners.
Donnie Snyder's 12.
Gary Neal
is 15.
Tom
McCumber. The coach is Binion. 10 is the next little boy is J.B. Bishop.
J.B. Bishop. We should say David.
David Bishop.
14 is our superintendent's dad, Gary Alexander.
23, I don't recognize.
30 is Kenny Hedinger.
Yeah.
35 is Mike Wellborn. 33 is my neighbor, Jimmy Kleiss.
And 51 is Mike Waters.
Mike Waters. Who's 40? 23 we should know.
Do you have that?
Well, I'm looking. I've got the names are kind of.
We don't know 10 and 23.
These guys all graduated about 69.
Yeah. I coached most of those guys in baseball.
Yeah.
Bill Cook, Jimmy. Jimmy was my second baseman. He was a third baseman, but he kept hitting the pitcher on his throw to first, so we had to put him at second. Shavy could actually beat Bill and I in snooker, but we don't want to talk too much about that.
Did you get number 30, Kenny Hedinger?
Yeah, we got Kenny.
23, Bob Weber.
Who?
Bobby Weber.
Oh, 23 is Bobby Weber. That's
there
it.
You go.
Who's 10?
No wonder.
Who's 10?
Well, I'm looking to see if anybody has it.
Between McCumber and David Bishop.
You know, doesn't Tom look like Doug? A lot like Doug.
Bill Cook, number 11. Mike Waters, number 51.
Yeah.
And
got number 10 yet?
No.
Bill Cook's got on the old famous knee pad.
Yeah. Back when they worried about us tearing our knees up, they don't care anymore.
Gary Alexander's got on one there too, as does Welbert.
Blythe Sanders had the pole vault record there in high school at 10 foot 6 inches with a pole that didn't bend. It was just a steel. Lang Murray went and cut off a steel pipe. Flash just ran and planted and jumped.
Yeah.
Not bad for stuff doesn't bend.
Holy smokes.
He'd pull himself up and go over.
You got to be strong to do that. He was a dandy. Okay, now this is something from the teachers, and I'm looking to identify teachers. If you close in a little bit, I see
a volleyball teacher.
That was, I think that's Bill Hill on the far left.
Looks like Bill.
Rachel, God. Suzanne Henderson.
Suzanne. Mm-hmm.
Then we have Dan Russell.
So not Henderson. Suzanne's not Henderson anymore.
Yeah, Moody. Suzanne Moody. Donna Jolly.
Yeah, Mrs. Jolly.
Oh, Kathy Winters. She came with me from Arcola. She's the art teacher.
Is that a 2-for-1 deal they got when they got you?
2 for 1, yeah. And I was the better part of the deal.
Yeah, you sold it. Looks like the gal that Hodges. Is that a?
No, she wasn't a teacher.
No, she wasn't, but it looks like her.
And the next teacher, that's Debbie Conlon, I believe.
No singer? Volleyball?
No, that's God. She went to Arcola to teach. She left Tuscola. I think she was a PE teacher. I forget.
Looks like they're saluting maybe kids that have gone into the military.
Yeah. Who were they?
Robert Hanners, I know, was a great long distance runner.
He was in the Army. Yeah, Rick Moody was an officer in the Navy, a pilot. Mark Payne was in the service. Thomas David Willoughby was in the Air Force, I believe. Sometimes I've slept since then.
There you go.
Well, I'm trying to get.
Well, I see Kobe Decker. Tom Weimer's 51 in the back row. Then Kobe Decker.
I see Chunk Campbell looks like 77.
That's Chunk. Greg Campbell. Is that Wilkes next to him?
You're bouncing around. Go in a little bit. See. There probably was a Jim Buck in there if I could find him.
Sometimes they pop. That's Bosch, 73.
The big
that's
Bosch
Brian
kid.
Bosch.
Bosch kid.
Yeah.
Slide over to the middle a little bit.
Gee, sometimes they pop out at you and sometimes they don't. Number 83 is Kalmar.
Where you at?
Frank. Is it Frank?
Where
there?
You at?
No,
right there. 3.
Frank would be too young for this picture.
Well, and then it says older brother. This is 79's a gang law.
83. No, wait a minute. Frank? Isn't that? There was Mark's the youngest.
Well, maybe I got the names
that
wrong.
Frank. That is Frank.
It looks
Maybe
like
it is
Frank.
Frank.
Number 5
I
is
thought
Moody.
Frank was younger.
5 is Rick Moody, Hall of Fame. 45, Jim Buck. Do you have a brother in there?
Nope.
Any relatives at all?
Probably. 21 looks like a Laley to me.
Well, this is, no, I think they were gone by then. This is probably, let's see, no, let me think. No, it could be because the two Laleys played in 76, 77. This looks like 78, 79. Is that possible? This is Gene Murray.
Well, Chuck graduated in 80.
Well, this could be one of the young ladies, or Steve and Bob.
54 looks a little like Ed Baranek, as maybe it was a freshman. But I could be wrong.
You know, that can't be Frank Kalmar.
Why? Go back again. I think it was.
You know, no, because Frank Kalmar was in the 6th grade
That's not.
in 1979, and he was in my room.
You think that's Mark? Who's the youngest one?
John. Is that John?
No, that is Mark.
Maybe it's not a Kalmar.
No, it is. I think it's Mark. When did Vangel come in? 80, 79, 80, 81?
Well, he was one of my coaches in the 80s.
Jeez.
That looks like it. I'd say 83 is a Kalmar. Who's the youngest one that played?
73 has to be a Bosch. I think you got that one.
Mark was the youngest. Good basketball, football player.
Well, give me the names of them. John, Mark, or there are two names.
Frank?
And
can't remember. Top of my head. I got screwed up on that. It looks like Kalmar, but maybe it's not.
Well, that's our big question: is 83 a Kalmar, and if so, which one?
Somebody will turn that all into you. This is, you know what? Go back just a little bit to your right.
This way?
It might be an Easton.
Which one?
32.
Looks like an Easton, doesn't it?
Oh, 64. 54 is Eaton, Eaton.
Oh, that's Chris Eaton.
Chris Eaton.
Chris thinks 69 is her brother Tom.
39.
I was going to say he looked familiar, but I couldn't guess him.
Yeah, I would go along with that.
I would too.
So it's 54 is Chris Eaton. Could 39 be Henderson, freshman, sophomore year?
No.
You don't think so?
Number
he graduated 2 years before Caleb.
In the 80s? In the 80s?
He graduated in 92.
Yeah, 21 is Dick Laley.
David.
That is Dick Laley.
Yeah.
Okay. Father was Bob and Dick.
Bill's a dad.
And Steve. There's 3 of them.
Steve Laley's a good pitcher.
Yeah.
Brad Taylor says taken in 1978. Class of 79 and 80. So, yeah, some of these guys were seniors or when I was a freshman. 75 looks really familiar to me too, but
slide it down. We can't see 75.
Oops.
Well, this is the same group of guys that Murray took to the super sectional in basketball, isn't it? Got beat over to
You want to tell me where John Murray is in this picture?
Well,
John Murray, my class, would be too young for this picture.
John played with Decker and Chunk.
No.
Not John.
No, not John. Mark did.
Mark.
Well, I'm sorry, in basketball,
John played in '83. He was on that great '83 team. Got beat by Casey and.
Oh, they did. They did. Okay, but I'm telling you
this is '78.
Let's see who else was involved. No, John played with Van Steenhouse.
Yeah, he's that Van Steenhouse group.
Bill Fruit.
Yeah. Well, 83's got our number. It's a tackles. 83 is not a back or a quarterback or halfback.
Boys needed a haircut.
That could be Steve. Could 83 be Steve Kalmar?
That's who it would be.
That could be.
Well, we had a CC camp out there, Bill. Wasn't that right where our
Memorial Field?
Practice football field? Or was that the whole?
Actually, it was the whole football field.
The whole football field.
And so it's called Memorial Field for a reason.
And it was. I think this is about the spring of 1940.
It says spring of 1940.
Yeah, when it's written on the card, you usually get it, Mike.
One of the CCC boys that went to this camp from Hinesboro was Harlan Connor, Hop Connor.
Hop Connor, yep.
You know, he talks about it.
And these old barracks were at one time sitting behind Dwayne Otto's business. And if you sat in study hall, you'd see sometimes there'd be smoke coming from the chimneys.
Yeah.
And it was the fellows that rode the rails would get off at Tuscola and seek shelter in those old barracks.
This was the tail end of FDR's public works project. He had an artist. Our post office has a big mural commissioned by the public work project. Our library they subsidized books written, and they also put people to work that were out of work, especially young kids. And the CCC camps were a Depression era, at the tail end of the Depression era, going into the war.
Don't quote me on this. You're actually looking to the east, and if you could look to the east today from the football field, you see East Prairie School.
Yeah, according to the folks online, the CCC camp guys built the dredge ditch system that we have.
Well,
Civilian Conservation Corps.
Yeah. Well, did they improve them, or they actually? I thought we had drainage here for a long time. You're saying we had no drainage ditches until they came along?
Well, it probably had some drainage ditches, but either probably made them bigger or.
Well, that was Roosevelt's theory at the time with the Depression and unemployment hit 20-30%, was he'd give people money and keep them alive, but you had to work for it. And so he started all kinds of things.
You have to work to get money.
Well, that used to be the theory.
Oh,
but I still love the painting at the post office. Is, to me, a great work of art. I love it. That was a CCC, not a CCC. He had all these different programs. One was for art,
right?
And there's all kinds of people who wrote poetry. There's a great book of photography of the Dust Bowl from a government paid for it.
I believe the old gym at Arthur was a project. Mm-hmm. There was a big plaque on the wall there in the old gym at Arthur.
Yeah. Okay, there's Dixon. There's Chris Little. And there's
Wills.
Phil Wills, 42. Chris Little. Is that Brad Dixon?
It's one of the Dixons.
55. Tall drink of water.
Boy, tall drink of water. Man.
Coach on the right is Oakland great. Denny Frederick passes 65. I played basketball, football against Denny.
Sean Watkins, 20. I can't tell. No, it couldn't be.
Wilkes.
Couldn't be. Too young. I just can't remember.
Slide it down just a little bit.
This would be the freshman.
There is one of our favorites of all time. Go ahead. 24.
24 is Kirk Ridge.
Kirk Ridge.
It was a Daryl. I think it's Kirk.
Could be Daryl.
Could be Daryl.
That might be Daryl.
That's a Ridge. That's Daryl. Kirk wasn't a basketball player. Daryl was. That's Daryl.
Daryl. 3551. These Denny Fredericks handed all these guys off to Bill Burris. Now we should know 53. We've seen him before.
Yeah, I know it. I can't think of it.
Fredericks is out in North Carolina now, I think. Sold the family farm a couple months ago. Came back home to visit. Mark Petty, his good friend. Petty was a halfback, fullback, and Fredericks was quarterback, I think, on that team. Well, you played basketball against Denny Fredericks.
I held him scoreless second half.
You did.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Back left is a Murray.
One of the Murray girls. It's not Mary. It's
no, it's not Mary.
Well, Mary'd be younger.
Yeah.
Teresa. Is that Teresa?
Teresa possibly was in Hawaii. Pretty girl. Brandenburg.
Sarah?
No, not Sarah. And I've probably got this all screwed up. She was a teacher at Atwood, right here in the front.
Is that Hance? Don Hance's daughter.
It kind of looks like her, doesn't it?
Is this Buckle's there? Because he had a mustache. I didn't think Buckle allowed that. Slide over a little bit so we can see.
I can guarantee you he wasn't happy if he did.
Got any names here, David?
Well, they're kind of all over the place on, no one has named them like left to right. Jim Gallagher says...
that's a Quinn, I think.
Well, it is. And she married, she taught at Atwood, married Ron Hayford.
Girl in the front, fifth one over is a Quinn, Carl Quinn, and
yeah, that's it. Yeah.
Daughter. Go ahead.
Karen. Well, Jim Gallagher says Dick and I look like mugshots, so looks like maybe Dick and Jim are in there. But not really. A couple names there, but not saying which one's which. So,
well, just give us some names.
Hard to well, pretty much gave them to you already. Karen Quinn and
Karen Quinn
and Gallagher's, and let's see who else might be.
That's a Hance, I think, in there.
Warren Gillenwater. Karen Hayford is tagged. Yeah, that's about all I've got on.
Is that Warren at the far right, Bill?
Yes, it is.
Far right, I think, is Warren, back row.
Yeah.
His dad was a great mechanic at Ford Garage. What's his name?
Gilly.
Gilly.
Oh, that's an old picture, and you see the TY tire in the background.
You see the TY tower back here.
Yeah.
See one of the diamonds. And
boy, the cargo back then, cargo that looks pretty new because the tanks are white.
Yeah, it's fairly. They look fairly new. I'm trying to figure out where this was taken from. Maybe the roof of the old Journal building.
It looks like a 3-story shot, doesn't it?
There was a tall building.
The one that burned down next to the community building?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I don't think Bill White had a drone, but he might have.
Well, he could have floated up there.
Just an interesting angle and picture that.
It is different, totally different.
Hauling grain from the Tuscola elevator out to Cargill.
And F.H. Jones over here in the bottom right-hand corner.
There you go.
So
Tuscola of the past.
Tuscola back in the 80s when I was building houses. On a weekend, you needed some lumber. You go into the north side of F.H. Jones and lift the door. They weren't locked, and you just take all your lumber and You go in Monday and tell them what you took. That's small town trust, the way it used to be. Well, there's when you and I were smoking cigars in the old Hotel Douglas, David.
Yeah, that's before my cigar smoking days.
Yeah.
But we've had a lot of pictures of the Hotel Douglas. This was
That's a great one.
photo.
Now, where's that taken from, you think, David?
I don't know. Could be roof of Flesser's.
Well, it's almost angled out in the road, it seems
Has
like.
to be the roof of Flesser's. I wonder if guy got his haircut finished.
Well,
Beautiful old building.
Those double windows, remember that was kind of a sitting room of the
hotel.
Yeah. No, Roy Stevens.
Roy Stevens again. And that's
You got a Kappas on the far right bottom.
Joe
Kappas.
Rita Hendershot says sitting on the desk is Bob Snyder and Joe Kappas.
This Bob Snyder. Yeah. Okay.
That's all the names I've got on that one.
FFA.
Patty Phillips.
Yeah,
Patty
there's
Phillips opening her photography shop.
Mayor Clarence Snyder.
Pee Wee Cunningham.
Pee Wee, can you slide it? Can you slide to the right? We'll see who Miss Tuscola was then.
I tell you what, the little girl is very familiar, and I'm just knocking myself out to think of her. Boy, that's just golly.
I would say Pat started photography around 1966.
Miss Tuscola there is Shannon Hatfield.
I was going to say Shannon.
I think she opened her photography shop in '66.
Well, Deanne Brookins said Janet Hill Murphy, but a couple others said Shannon Hatfield.
Well, the little girl is Shannon Hatfield. That's Mark and Brian's sister. If you slide it.
Okay, so that's a little one.
Yeah, Miss Tuscola is. Yeah.
Janet Murphy. Okay.
Yeah.
Sister to Lori.
Clarence looked good with a suit and vest on, didn't he? Look at that.
Yeah. Boy, Shannon could shoot free throws. She won in the Elks, went all the way to Washington, I thought, at one time.
All the Hatfields could shoot free throws.
They could shoot, period.
Good athletes, all of them. Before Cargill's, that's when Tuscola used to have semis lined up down Park Street all the way back to the park and the railroad.
That's the same truck on the scales that was going across the tracks.
Well, somebody was up on a rooftop taking pictures.
Yeah.
Warrant office.
Civil War. Rex Butler lived there.
I wrote recently about abandoned houses in Tuscola, and that was probably one of the last ones torn down. I took more than one date in there. I don't know why I take a date in there.
Well,
they had an old staircase. They had an old staircase. Looked like if you went up, it could cave in, you could die. I never could get in the.
We went there and got rocks. They had a rock garden.
Oh, did they?
Yeah. I've still got a couple of them.
Yeah, you want to put a lot of rocks in your yard.
We would go in there and shoot off firecrackers.
This was
decal plant.
That's where the jail is now.
Yeah, right. That's where the jail is now.
But you could take a date there and get her scared, and she'd want to stay close to you. That was one of the few techniques I had.
The old Fornoff mansion.
Get them scared. There he is. Oh boy, that's.
Pay attention, or I'm going to stick the trunk down your throat.
That is William Burris.
Now,
oh boy,
this is what happened. All right, Burris had retired from coaching, but he knew that he could increase his salary, his retirement, if he came back into coaching, and we needed a coach to grade school.
Right.
So this is, you see, Toby Ring at 32. That's Jeff Hediger.
Yeah.
John Seguin sitting down there. This is all eighth graders, or maybe they were seventh graders. I don't know. Matt Daniels is there. Somehow or the other, Caleb ended up being coached by Bill Burris too in grade school. So he did it. He did that a couple of years.
Yeah, yeah. Well, Bill was always thinking. Bill and I remember playing for Bill Burris in grade school way back and if Burris got mad at you at the old North Fork gym, I told this story. I don't want to bore you, but he'd take you out of the game, and you could see him stand there. He had a wet towel, and as you ran to the bench, he was whipping it up like that. And so I went to the end of the bench, and I hook slid as he tried to snap me with a towel. He would snap you with a towel. Today he'd be in prison. But back then, that was your punishment for goofing up, was a towel snap with a wet towel.
There he is again.
He did driver's ed, and this is probably, there's Mark Payne, and
that's Lance Little.
Lance Little on the right, Mark Payne.
Is that Dick Cawthorn in this?
Looks like Derek Cawthorn. No.
Walter Putoff.
Oh, Walter Putoff. Yeah, I was going to say Deke was taller than that. That's Walter. I'll be darned. Annalisa Putoff's brother. Annalisa,
who's kneeling
passed
down?
Away a long time ago. I don't know. This must be someone from the state. They're probably doing some sort
driver's ed thing.
Driver ed deal.
Showing head-on crashes.
Yeah.
That looks like Bill Bangle from the back.
It is.
Yeah, that's Bill Bangle.
Thing. There's Jimmy, front row, third one in from the left is Jimmy Brookins. Jimmy actually listened to him.
Brad Hines is trying to listen.
Right. Next one over is Brad. Then you got Fritz Cross.
Yeah. And that's Matt McCarty next to Fritz Cross.
And that's
that's Mark. Now the youngest Hatfield ought to be in this one. Blonde-haired Mark Hatfield ought to be in this. He was the quarterback of that team.
Boy, this is a long time ago. There's Jeff Miller.
Third row up is Tag Atkinson, and to the right of him is Jeff Miller. There is There's Frank Kalmar.
There's a Kalmar.
That's Frank.
That's Frank.
And that's Hatfield down here on the first row.
That's Mark.
Right, Mark Hatfield on the front row, right?
Well, the youngest.
Oh no, that's not Brian.
You don't think that's Brian?
No.
Well, that's right. Mark played on that.
Kid sitting there without the shirt on almost looks like Jeff Leniger, but I can't tell. Oh, there's Alex Meyer right there.
Looking third row up, second one in is Alex Meyer. We should know most of these guys here.
Well, we're
doing I thought this one next to Brookins looked a little like Leninger, but maybe, I don't know.
Might be. Who knows? I lose track.
This one down here on the lower left.
Drew, doesn't it?
You know what?
That is Drew.
I know that Drew must have been a freshman or sophomore because Drew graduated in.
These are young guys.
This class is what is this? 85?
Well, this one on the lower left is Matt Porter.
I'm trying to guess what year this was.
Tried it. Well,
Vienna's came in 87, 88.
I can help you on that.
Is this 85?
Where's Lance Little in this picture?
He isn't in this picture.
He should be.
No, I don't think so.
There's Jeff Knight back there. Alex Meyer and Lance Little were in the same class. Because I'm going on, they were in sixth grade together.
Johnny Brookins was probably 83. This is probably 85 with Jimmy. 85, 86.
Well, this would have to be later than that because these guys were eighth grade when we were seniors. John was in my class.
No, Vienna's came in about 87, 88, 89. These guys.
This is my brother Matt's class.
What year is that then?
Would have to been 3, 4, 5, 87 maybe.
Might have been his last year or next last year.
Yeah, this was probably taken in 80. Let's see.
You know what? But I think Jimmy Brookins looks like he might be like a sophomore. Fritz Cross looks young. This might
could have
be,
been taken in 84.
yeah, this could be 84, 85 picture. Because Frank Kalmar's still there. I know by Jimmy Brookins' senior year, it was Mark Kalmar throwing passes to him. And Drew Hole, this could be 84 picture, 85, because that could be Drew Hole behind Jimmy Brookins.
Brad Hines and Drew Hole retired, so.
Yeah, I think this could be 84, 85. That's Drew, I think. Why Drew didn't wear clothes back then is a mystery to everybody. He had a good body.
Yeah.
That
That's my brother in the lower left.
looks like a.
I was going to say, that's on the other side of that kid that can't quite pin him down. It is your brother. Oh, here we go. Now, this team went to state.
Were you principal in?
No, I was teaching. Number 10 is Robbie Taylor. 13 is Walter Putoff. Knight is standing in between those two boys. This is Mark Hatfield. This, gosh darn, Mark Zom won the Illinois lottery, or his dad did.
Yeah, his dad, I think.
His dad won the Illinois lottery. This is Stewart over here on the far right.
Slide it a little bit.
And Alex Myers standing behind him.
Alex Meyer, far right.
Once again, I'm trying to find Lance Little. I was always looking for Lance.
Who's second from the right?
Phil Wills.
That looks a little like
it's Diane Stewart's son. Yeah, that's Diane Stewart's son. Diane and Tom's son.
Alex ought to be in police chief of Rantoul. Poor guy.
Anders, I think.
Which one?
Glasses right there in the center.
John Stewart to the left of Alex, it says.
Where's
Tom's his dad.
Well, where's that? We mean the left of Alex. Who is it?
To the left of Alex.
John Stewart.
That's John, but he's not to the left.
He's to our right. I'm sorry.
Yeah. Yeah. All right.
Back here with glasses could be Joe Farlow thinks it's Spike Hanner.
It is. Yeah. I told Mike it was Hanner's.
His hair was too short. He played high school football with long hair. His dad, Dennis, I played Little League baseball with his dad, Dennis, good athlete.
Now these, I know a few more of these.
There's 83 now. There you go. There's the Staler up in the air.
Jimmy Naonis declaring himself king.
There's Jimmy. There's John Brookins, Johnny B, Jimmy's brother.
Then we've got Tom Peach in front of Jim Naonis. 41 would be Eric Adams. That's a Dobson standing there.
Brian
Dobson.
Behind him, holding up Staler, is David Jones.
And we see Kerry Kincaid in the far back left.
And between Kincaid and Brookins is Scott Von Lincoln.
Yeah, we beat Arcola at Arcola, I guess.
I'm not sure who this is behind Eric. Could be Bill Fruit, not sure. Don't know who's holding up Naonis. Could be John Kleiss. Looks like his hair. Not sure.
Now, is this should Phil Meyer and now we're talking John Murray. Should John Murray be in this?
Murray would be in this class, yeah.
And Dan Meyer?
Dan Meyer, yeah.
And Bates should be here as a junior. It's 41 Bates?
No.
41 is Adams.
That's Eric Adams.
Okay. Well, Bates should be in this photo too. Well,
Duff Hole on the back left.
This is King and Queen, looks like. Here's Dufferoony.
Dana Stinger.
John Kleiss.
John Kleiss. Colleen Hartman is in the back next to John Kleiss.
That's the teacher's daughter.
This could be National Honor Society.
Kim Griffith.
Kim Griffith. His dad was a teacher.
From left, you've got, this is 83. From left, you've got Duff Hole, Dana Stinger, John Kleiss, Kim Griffith, Kemp, Colleen Hartman, Karen Melanson, and then Melanie Myers.
There you go.
So this was National Honor Society?
That's what I'm guessing.
Back when they used to put about 5 or 6 in and not 30? How many did they put in?
I don't know.
I spoke at Honor Society a few years ago, and I think a third of the class was already in.
We had, this may have been senior year inductees. There would have been quite a few others that were probably already inducted.
You need to send that to Duff. Duff needs to print that off.
Yeah, because I was in NHS. I got in as a junior.
We did the history of Tuscola football. We got the freight train Bates from 83 running, and throwing a block was John. We got John Kleiss on the cover throwing a block.
Brian Harris.
That's not Brian, that's Roger.
Brother.
I stuck this one in because Brian gets all the press.
That's
So,
Roger Harris.
that's
Where did you
Roger.
get that?
It was just in with the stack of photos.
Roger Harris.
Now, is he the one who became the superintendent?
Brian.
Brian.
That was
Susan's brother.
Roger.
One of the great basketball players you had.
No, he played baseball.
Susan.
Oh, well, Susan, yes.
Susan.
Golly. But Roger was a catcher for me when I coached baseball one year. We were trying to keep the program going.
Well, that's Mr. Hoover Electronics. Who prepared Hoovers? Weber did it for a while, but this was before Weber.
I don't know. I think he just standing in front of the store, whoever this gentleman is.
Anyway, that shop's opened back up to repair. That's probably the oldest running shop is in Tuscola. They're back open. They're doing
the Evans boy opened the shop.
Vacuum cleaners. That's what I think when Mr. Weber retired, didn't he do it? Mm-hmm. Repair them?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, this guy looks familiar, but I don't have the name.
Oh, there's
here we are. Bill Hill on the left, Debbie Conlon, Tony Scribner, Amber Wilkinson. Don't know, Doug Hettinger, and God, I can't tell. I just can't tell.
Oh, that's city clerk. He's a carpenter. She's city clerk. Beth Lehman. Isn't that a Lehman?
Josh Lehman, far right.
Yeah, Josh Lehman.
Huh.
Wound up being quarterback.
Doesn't look like Josh.
Yeah.
Brian Lake is tagged. Not sure.
Brian Lake's the third one in from the right, I think.
Oh, is that Kurt Hettinger in the white?
Yeah, that's Steve's boy, isn't it?
No. There's Kurt here, and that's Doug. Doug in the dark tank top. That's Steve's boy. And Doug.
Bill Hill looks the same as he did today.
Yeah, Bill Hill has not changed in 40 years.
I think he must be an android. Yeah, Stepford husband.
I'll have to ask him the next time I see him.
Oh my God!
Now, boy,
Oh,
I'm
no.
gonna tell you,
Here's the greatest.
that's one.
Here's the greatest picture you've ever pulled up.
Now, that is a memory.
On the left, of course, my classmate played center on our basketball team. One of the greats. I played tight end in football, and he was my tackle to the left.
Hoot Gibson.
Rick Hoot Gibson. Everybody loved Hoot. And at the time, he dated Sharon Rose.
There's Mary
Sharon
Cappy.
and the beautiful Mary Toomey from my class. Sharon's in my class, and there he is.
There he is.
In all his wonder.
Greg Skinner.
And who should stand between him than Stu Carmack in the back?
That's Stu in the back. That's a Dean Molay.
Dean Molay. This is a super secret photograph that has to be burned.
Boy, I'll tell you what.
Stu was grand potentate poobah of Dean Molay. Greg, I think, was Greg's dad or granddad. Gus, I think, was the grand poobah.
Yeah, he bought the building.
Look at Rick Gibson's hairdo over on the left.
Here.
Look at that hair.
Yeah, man.
You could land a B-52 on his head.
He was a dandy.
What a great. Everybody loved Hoot.
Yeah.
Everybody liked Hoot.
Everyone didn't love Greg.
No, Rick Broach and Daryl Price.
I saw Daryl Price the other day at the funeral home. He was coming out.
A couple lawyers.
Looked dapper.
2 lawyers.
Broach retired now. I wonder if he's playing some golf.
He's doing roofs.
I saw that. What is the deal?
He is.
Well, I know.
Bill Clyde said he came up on his roof and gave an estimate.
That's
where all judges.
we got one of those cards in the mail. Rick was, of course, a judge and retired recently, and then we got a card in the mail that said Rick Broach, roofer, but it wasn't Rick. This Rick Broach's picture.
He did. He said he told Bill he went down to Florida and got certified, and he's
different Rick Broach.
No, that's the same Rick Broach.
Mm-hmm.
Judge Broach. He always wanted to be a roofer. He never wanted to be a lawyer. He told me he always thought about asphalt shingles.
Now, was it Rick Broach or not?
That was Rick Broach. I'm telling you, he's doing roof estimates.
A different Rick Broach.
No, it didn't.
Yes. Mike is starting rumors.
It is Rick Broach.
I wondered. It looked like him to me.
Now here we go again. We're now looking at the big Knights of the Templar.
Sitting down in the chair on the left, bottom, that's John Miller. That's old Wild Bill's son.
Bill Miller that worked at the decal.
Yeah. I see Burl Mills standing next to, is that Jim Maxey?
We're at. Jim Maxey's third in from the left. Second in from the left is Burl Mills. Jim Maxey. That's Dale Kearns. 1, 2, 6th one in from the left. Dale Kearns.
Roy Hopkins next to him.
And this guy is picturing the paper.
Evans. Isn't that Evans?
I don't know.
Who's a big, tall fellow in the back?
They flew him in from Iraq for the ceremony.
Yeah, John Miller worked at CIPS.
My dad worked with his dad at decal for years.
Yeah, Bill. I worked with Bill.
Bill didn't say much, but when he talked, he didn't say much. Bill Betzel.
That's Bill Betzel.
Ran the bus service before Gould.
Back when you had a clutch and stick.
Yeah, you had to know how to drive.
Yeah.
Now that mirror's not going to help you much up there.
No, it hit him in the head.
Hit him in the head. You got fans. You got 4 fans up there. It must not be air conditioned.
You remember when we came back from the Paris Holiday tournament that Larry Allen was driving and blew up the bus engine, and we had to get in their bus. So.
Yeah. We just won the holiday tournament. Yeah. We couldn't even get home.
We called him Shamrock.
One fan looks like it's blowing on the glass.
Yeah, well, you want to get the glass. You don't want the glass to crack in hot weather.
That is a good picture.
Big Bill was a great guy.
I think that's a classic Americana picture right there.
Yeah, look what you had mechanically. Look what you had. Now you're going to have an automatic driving bus. There's going to be nobody sitting there. They'll just take off down the road and do a robot.
Whether your kids on it or not.
Yeah, there's going to be a bus coming down the road and you don't know whether to get on or not because there's nobody driving. San Francisco's full of it. Oh, there. He took over J.R. North's furniture store.
Jim Thompson.
And his wife.
He was a funeral director.
Yeah. And here he is preparing your seat. That's your final seat.
Looks like a chair of some sort, and that's Audrey.
Yeah. Yeah. He bought J.R. North, Mrs. North.
You know, his boy graduated, played baseball for him.
They lived in the house of Ellen Anderson.
Lived
in there.
They did.
Yeah. Okay.
Is that Rick Roach?
No, that is, what's his name? The golfer.
Yeah, what's his name? The golfer?
Is that
Carl Kokenauer.
Carl Kokenauer on the left, and on the right's the owner of the Tuscola McDonald's from Sullivan. He owns the Sullivan and Tuscola. He and his wife. I've talked to him, but I can't remember his name. Carl used to run, I think that's Carl. Carl used to run the McDonald's for him.
Carl was a heck of a golfer.
Carl was a great golfer.
Yeah. Man.
Won the Douglas County Open down at, I think he shot a 66 final round.
Oh, boy.
Kasky.
He won. Yeah.
That's Maria Reinhardt in the middle.
Oh, that's Maria? Oh, that's
Maria?
According to Stephanie Reinhardt.
Well, that's Jim. Jim, somebody from Sullivan. I wish I was
close enough.
Let's call him Jim.
How much was the sandwich? Can we tell?
Well, 9 cents, it says. Hot roast beef up there is $2.19 for hot roast beef. I don't think this is McDonald's. This is McDonald's.
It is McDonald's.
McDonald's.
Hot roast beef?
Sausage, gravy, and biscuit. Man, that sounds good.
If you got a McLean Deluxe, I'd say that's McDonald's.
There was a turkey ham deli and an Italian deli. Yeah. Bring them back. Bring them back. Let's see what a sausage biscuit costs. $1. Look, zero in on the sign. Pull the sign in a little bit.
A large coffee was 45 cents.
Okay. 59 cents. What is that? 19?
Something
54 cents for cookies.
Yes. A child-sized milkshake? I don't remember that.
Well, you never had a child-sized milkshake in your life.
That's true, too. Hot cherry pie?
I know that's the owner on the right, and that's Carl Kokenauer, but the middle, that's supposed to be
Maria Reinhardt. It just doesn't look.
It doesn't look like it.
That's according to Stephanie Reinhardt.
Well, she would know better than a couple of idiots sitting here. We're just guessing. Carl looked good and young there.
Time out.
That is
Patty Laley.
Patty Laley. We talked about Dick Laley earlier and his two brothers, Steve and Bob, good football players. That was the one daughter raised among those ruffians.
Played basketball for him.
Yeah.
Probably Miss Tuscola contest.
I think so.
They don't do the bathing suits anymore.
Too bad.
Dick Helm. We just had Dick came up to, we just took him out to supper about 2 months ago. He graduated in 51.
Hair's white.
Tuscola Hall of Fame. He went to Wheaton. He was a three-star athlete, Hall of Fame Wheaton. Wound up coaching in the National Basketball Association, became best friends with Lenny Wilkins at Portland, Atlanta Hawks, one other place, and he's in the Hall of Fame for college coaches in Ohio, and he's in the Hall of Fame for assistant NBA coaches. He's in about 5 Hall of Fames, still alive, lives down in Georgia. He's probably 89, 90 years old. He's still traveling, doing Christian. He gives talks to athletes around the world in Poland, Romania. He was talking about flying to Romania this year for a Christian athletic conference. One of the greatest guys you'd ever want to know in life.
This one is not Tuscola, but
Oh, I know where that is.
That's Hugo.
That's Hugo. Yeah. So when you're skipping school, I heard
I wonder. You and Gibson and
you would perhaps stops at Earl's place in Hugo, and they had a potbelly stove. And I heard that when you walked in, if you were not in school, that some of the old timers would chuckle at you, laugh a little bit about what was going on.
So you've heard that from who?
Oh, I just heard rumors.
Did you ever go to school your senior year?
I tried. Paul McGrath ended up owning that. His son Ed bought it for him for something for Paul to do. John McGrath's dad.
The funniest thing about Hugo is the last two houses built there have been worth about $1 million. I mean, people are really, it's coming back.
It's coming back.
Hugo is coming back. Oh, there's Jerry Reynolds on the right. I don't know what the photo has to do with. Who's on the left there?
I don't know. It looks like one of Bill Huber's auction jackets.
It does, doesn't it?
Well, too dark. Bill gave away gold ones. Tuscola gold.
Yeah, I'm not sure who that is.
Carl Connor, great city council for years. I mean, school board for years. Great softball player.
Played EI baseball, third baseman.
Yeah.
Was in the Korean conflict out of the reserve unit here in Tuscola. As president or being on the school board, he worked at the gas company here in Tuscola, and he would take 1 week vacation and visit every classroom in the building.
Oh, he was great, and he's Sheriff Chubb Connor's uncle. The great Connor family. One of Tuscola's legendary families are the Connors.
And besides Bob Hastings, and Carl took over as coach of the Indians.
Yeah, he was basically retired down to Florida, I think.
Yes, he did. He passed away just a couple of years ago. He was over 90 years old.
Great guy.
Yeah.
Well, there we go. This is when you were principal.
Well, that's John Patton at high school band teacher.
You should be able to get them all.
Well, no, these girls are all a little bit older. On the far right is Lori Gangloff. Can't tell who she's got her hand on whose shoulder. Looks
some of these are my class. This one here.
That's Melanson.
Karen Melanson.
I see.
The second row, second one in is Shannon Meyer, and then up here in the
Shoemaker girls next to Patton.
Yeah, that's a Shoemaker.
One of the twins.
And if I can get my cursor to work right, that's Marty Chris in the top.
That's Marty Chris. I was going to say that's Marty Chris.
Is that second one up on the right? Is that a Ross?
Over here.
Right here, is it the Ross?
No, I don't. I don't know.
Some of the others look familiar, but I'm not sure.
Boy, we took the black and gold. I don't know, when did black and gold become black and bright yellow?
When they could no longer get that from the manufacturer.
They did not have the color gold?
Well, here's the silly thing. That's Purdue colors, right? That's a Purdue.
But that was Tuscola, though.
Old gold.
I know, but that's Tuscola.
And we should have been able to get the colors. And my daughter-in-law in the business, so to speak, simply cannot get that color. That's my understanding.
All you have to do is blend two other colors together.
Well,
yellow and brown.
I could go up to the store and dye some at night, I guess.
You could.
Yeah.
We'd make $1 million if we get the old gold back.
Boy, we would.
A lot of old Tuscola people want the old gold. Okay. So that mechanic there. That's a Buick mechanic. Worked for Red Prophet. Yeah, Broadmaker, and who else was in there?
Sorry. Can't do
We
it.
got one more picture. We'll see if you can guess who this is.
Okay. Oh, that's easy. That's you.
Where's your cigar at?
Yeah.
It is not me.
I think it's Dad Porter.
That is Frank Porter.
Yeah.
Probably when he ran for city council.
Very good.
Was he a cigar smoker?
No, he was a cigarette smoker.
Do you
But
still have that chair? Do you still have that chair by any chance?
no, but I recognize it. I don't know why he posed in front of a dead flower back here, but
Well, let me ask you this: is that the look he had on his face when you ran away from home?
that is his fake
Is
smile for the camera smile.
that right after supper smile?
I tell you what, if you take off the
I'm not sure I've ever seen that smile other than in this picture.
Bill and I think if you put a hat on him and put a beard on him, we got you.
yeah,
Yeah,
kind of
good
easy.
reason for that. Except he has blue eyes and he's a little taller than me.
Yeah, we're not looking at your eyes.
We don't care about eyes.
And but there's the ever-present pocket protector.
Was he a physics major?
He was an engineer major,
Protectors.
Yeah.
and
Well, that's a lost art. We no longer can produce the Tuscola old gold and pocket protectors. They're just gone.
he probably a screwdriver in there, and maybe something with a magnet end and a pen or a pencil, and
Yeah.
always had his pocket protector.
Well, you never can tell when you need an engine overhaul.
I think he still has that shirt.
Well, you know,
I know he's got whatever nickels are in his pocket. He still has those.
now, David, for him to get photographed with a newspaper, you're saying this is his election photo?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Well,
Probably
it's better. It's better than a mug shot. Would you agree?
a little better, maybe. Yeah, he's not a lot of pictures of him in the newspaper, that's for sure.
Was he a politician or just a straight talker?
No, Mayor Chris Hill came to our house and asked him to run for city council. And three other people were running in the same ward, and Dad took fourth place.
Well, he's top four.
He was in the top four.
Who were the other three? Do you remember?
Um, I I would probably be able to tell you if you hadn't asked me.
I know that feeling. David, I do want you to know something today. I want to thank you for your concern for me. Today, I'm going to be a little more careful standing up here.
Well,
At least you expressed concern for me.
Bill lost his. Bill was sitting in a chair with casters that rolled.
well, I was thinking of you because I was reviewing my insurance policy.
The chair took off and hit Dave's car. I dove for Bill and missed him, hit my head against the garage door. About died. I tried to save you.
The chair is okay.
I've got this big thing on my arm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We're getting old, David. We're getting older.
I thought you might be a little sore after your spill.
I was a little bit sore.
The good news is the CAT scan came back negative.
Yeah, there's nothing there.
Now, to add to Mike's story of concern and effort to save you, I believe his comment was, I wish the camera was still rolling.
Yeah.
Well, that way we'd have a good case for the lawsuit. See, I was thinking of evidence. Actually have that on film. That would the jury would be inflamed, and we get a lot of money for Bill. He can pay off. He got his house worth today. He could pay that off.
I was told I should not sit in a chair with rollers.
Mm-hmm.
Well, one of the problems you and I have sitting in any chair is getting up. We need some kind of a sky hook to help pull us up.
Getting true.
The legs are gone. Anyway, I'll tell you what, the picture of Hooter and Gus,
Man,
Skinner and I'll tell you one. You got time for two short Rick Gibson stories? We were playing Unity for the Ocala Championship. And on the north side of the gym, Wilbur Clark dove for the ball up against the stands, and Oscar Hicks was the coach, and Rick was going for it, real slow, lumbering, and dove, and there's a big explosion, and they call a foul on Rick. He slams Wilbur Clark into the bleachers, and everybody's yelling, screaming. Rick stands up, and Wilbur Clark is not there. Wilbur Clark is not there. And everybody says, where the hell did Wilbur Clark go? And about a minute later, he comes out of the end of the bleachers on the west side, wobbly. And if you know those bleachers, they fold up against metal. They don't fold under. They don't fold under. They fold up, and there's a metal scaffolding in there. How did Wilbur get under the? How did Rick knock him through the bleachers? The other story is he had a beautiful one of the prettiest cars ever. Was a yellow Falcon Sprint convertible with a black top, 4-speed, brand new, had it for a day. He and Bobby Jones are next to the City Hall, Tuscola National Bank, heading east on Pembroke. And they pull out and they look down to the right toward Gus's, and a big German Shepherd's run down the road as hard as it can. And they sit there and look at it and they go, this thing's surely going to stop. The dog ran into the car going as fast as it could, rocked the car, killed the dog. Rick went home. His right door's dented in. And his dad said, what happened? He said, Dad, you won't believe me. He told him the story, and he said, I don't believe you, Rick. But Bob Jones, minister's son, verified it. So Rick Gibson, there's just so many stories about Rick, and he died way too young. Died of a heart attack down in St. Louis. Trying to drive himself to the hospital, had chest pains. Guys, call the ambulance when you have chest pains.
Yeah.
Don't try and drive.
Rick and I were great police at the Armstrong Farms out east of town. You know, it's on the River Road.
Yeah.
Yeah. And that's where we would go out there and work all day long, breaking leaves. We did that 2 different times.
He lived out there, didn't he?
Armstrong's Brodus Farms.
Yeah, okay.
Before we go, Becky asked me about my shirt. It says, it's what I do. I smoke cigars and I know things. So it's 50% correct anyway.
It's close.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, you do smoke cigars.
Well, I do know some things.
Yeah. Well, Bill and I revealed we know about 98% of things.
I thought we did pretty well.
Bill did a good job today. He knew his students when he was a principal and a coach.
Yeah.
Sometimes the names just don't pop up like they should. I can't get over how long the kid's hair was.
Well, 70s I was state's attorney during the 70s, and I think I remember seeing some of those kids in court.
I think your percentage improved and from 95% to 90% incorrect.
Yeah.
Oh, so we're up.
Yeah, you're up.
Yeah, I think the 70s, remember, kids wore their hair long and they started to experiment with marijuana and some drugs. I remember it got so bad, Tom Harris, the police chief, brought in Beretta.
Oh, I remember him coming.
I do too.
Beretta talked to the whole thing. He said, you kids need to tell your parents you're on drugs. You need to tell them. And I'm listening to this. We paid the guy $10,000, and I thought it was
that was a county-wide thing, wasn't it?
Well, Tuscola High School.
But the county schools came.
I don't remember about that. I remember
it's full.
Tuscola paid for it.
I remember going.
But the shocking thing to Tom and I, Tom just had hip surgery. Hope he's doing better. Good luck, Tom. He was my police chief. Then he became my investigator when I was state's attorney. But he gave this talk about, you go tell your parents what you're doing. They need to know, blah, blah, blah. We were absolutely shocked. I mean, I think there were 50, 60, 70 kids went confessed to their parents. I mean, parents just fell over backwards, had no idea. The number of kids that tearfully went up to their parents and told them they were experimenting with drugs. So that was whatever starts in New York City or California in the 50s and 60s.
Ends up in the Midwest.
It takes about 10, 20 years, And so when we look at California today and see the craziness they're doing, just buckle up, buddy. Here it comes.
Yeah.
And guess what? There's nothing you can do about it.
There's nothing you can do about it.
It's a coming.
It's a coming.
And nothing you can do about it. And thinking it's coming for you is vanity.
Right.
We're quoting No Country for Old Men by
one of our favorite movies.
Cormac McCartney. Well, David, those are great photos. You got any more photos of Hoot and Gus and
I
Mary
have no idea. I have no idea when I opened the box.
Mary Toomey, by the way, who was my class, was a gymnast with Linda Matheny
Mm-hmm.
when they first started with Peg Pettit. And she and Linda were co-equals. And I think Rosemary wound up giving it up, and Linda kept on going to 3 Olympics, and quite a gal.
We should say, in regards to that picture of Rick Gibson and Greg Skinner, that also Greg Skinner, retired St. Louis police officer, honored with one time the Medal of Valor from the department in St. Louis. He was also a
Parade
magazine top 10 police officers
in the nation.
In the nation.
That was a national publication. Yeah. Came with your paper, and he was a top 10.
And yeah, good friend of both of ours.
One of our best friends. But yeah. I remember when he first came back from St. Louis, or one Bill was living down there on what's that little street, a little house?
Ohio.
And we went in to see Greg, and Caleb was probably about 2 years old, and Greg had long hair, drove a Harley.
Hey, Harley.
Undercover drug officer, looked just like a drug dealer. He's squatting on the floor because Bill only had about one couch and one chair. So I'm in the couch. So Greg's on the floor, and we look over, and Caleb's reaching up on his ankle, had his hand on Greg's gun, had a gun. Bill about had a heart attack. Greg's just laughing. Greg had quite a life. He's down in St. Louis with his daughter, and I hope he's doing well. If he listens to us, Greg, we love you. I hope you're doing okay.
His grandfather was Gus Flesser.
Yes.
He's the oldest Flesser grandchild.
His mother was Helen, one of Gus's 8 kids. Five died, 3 survived.
Several survived or died. 4 survived that I know of.
And then Bill, wonderful Bill Skinner, gave 20 years of his life down there in that basement making candy.
Mm-hmm.
Wound up being a banker. At the end of his life, I think he had a good life.
Yeah, he did. Yeah.
Got to be a bank executive.
Well, a special family.
Built a house down at Lake Sarah. Yeah, those were wonderful times.
We have exceeded our time slot, so
well, don't show many pictures, because Bill and I certainly don't talk too much.
we'll wrap up. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you next week on Remembering Tuscola.